Hello, I am Nancy Cheney, the reading coach and specialist at Epic Charter Schools. We are going to be working with the Oklahoma Academic Standards for third graders, specifically the English Language Arts Standard 3.4.R.5. Students will use a dictionary or glossary, print and/or electronic, to determine or clarify the meanings, syllabication, and pronunciation of words. What you can learn from a dictionary or glossary. Number 1, how to spell a word. Number 2, what a word means, its definitions. Number 3, how many syllables are in a word. Number 4, whether or not to capitalize a word, whether it's a proper noun. Number 5, what part of speech the word is used for. Number 6, how to abbreviate a word. Number 7, meanings of prefixes and suffixes for a word. And 8, the origins of the word or what language it comes from. How are dictionaries and glossaries organized? The words in dictionaries and glossaries are in alphabetical order. This is the ABCs or the alphabet listed here. Words are alphabetized by the first letter or the first letter which is different in the words. We have the alphabet listed at the top. Put these words in alphabetical order. The words are sour, sentiment, separate, sentence, sachet. They all start with an S, so we'll have to look at the second letter. We have an O in sour, an E in sentiment, an E in separate, an E in sentence, and an A in sachet. Well, we know that the A would come first, so our first word would be sachet. Now we have 3 words that have the E for the second letter. So let's look at the third letter. We have an N in sentiment, a P in separate, and an N in sentence. So we know N comes before P alphabetically, so we will look at sentence and sentiment. Each has a T for the fourth letter, so we'll have to look at the fifth letter. We have an I and an E. Of course, E comes before I, so our second word would be sentence. Sentiment would be the third. Now we have the SEP, separate, would be the fourth. And our last one is the SO, sour. So now our words are in alphabetical order. We have sachet, sentence, sentiment, separate, sour. In a dictionary or glossary, guide words help to locate the page a word would be found on. In this example of a dictionary partial page, at the top we have whose and wild. The guide word on the top left shows the first word on the page, and the guide word on the top right shows the last word on the page. So all the words on this page would come between these two letters alphabetically. So if you want to see if a word would fit on the dictionary page on the last slide, it would need to be between the two guide words, which were whose, left side, first word on the page, and wild, right side, last word on the page. Let's try an example. Do these words below fit on the page? The first one is wet. Does wet, let's look at whose. Does wet come before whose or after whose? E comes before H, so we know that wet comes before whose. So no, it would not fit on the page. Let's look at number 2, wonder. W-O, let's see, O fits after H on W-H for whose. Now, does it come before wild, though? W-O and W-I, I or O? Actually, I comes first, so the answer would be no. O comes after I, so that word would come on another page. Let's look at number 3, width. Let's see, W-I comes before wild and I comes after H, so yes, ID comes between WH and IL. So that word would be on this page. Parts of a dictionary entry. We have marked with the arrows some parts for the word crook. We have the entry word crook. We have the pronunciation, the syllables, the part of speech, which in this is a noun, and then there is another one below that is a verb. And we have several definitions for the word crook. To decide which definition to make sense in a sentence, you need to 1. Read all the definitions. 2. Imagine a blank space where the word is in the sentence and substitute the meaning you feel is correct into the sentence. If the meaning makes sense, then that is the correct definition. A dictionary lists words from all subjects, and you can find most words for the language you are using in it. A glossary is like a dictionary, but for a specific textbook, and has only the words used for a specific subject or that textbook. They are both arranged in alphabetical order, have guide words, entry words, and the information given for the words is the same. This has been a brief introduction to dictionaries and glossaries. I know you will find dictionaries and glossaries to be a very helpful tool as you learn and expand your vocabulary.